Yo, welcome to another edition of the Speaker Geekers podcast, man. I'm your host, Steve, and I got, once again, my partners, my co-hosts, my brothers from another mother, Tommy T and G. So, on today's episode, before we get started, I want to let y'all know real quick, man, this episode is going to be all about the Verzus today. So, if you tune in for something different, you got the Verzus today. Which, as you probably should have known anyway, because that's like the biggest news coming out today. So not only that, man, we got the Verzus. Of course, we got what's in your speakers. So get ready to write down these new records for y'all to go check out. As well as, man, we got a little bit of news today, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk a little bit about Billboard and some numbers. And we also got some other little bit of news as well. So without further ado, man, let's jump into it, man. What y'all been up to?
Man. Chilling. I'm off work.
Yeah.
Got a week vacation with this Thanksgiving break, man. I'm happy.
Man, getting these turkeys together, man.
What you been doing with the turkey, man?
Man, I'm gonna fry one, and then my job actually gave us a turkey, so we're gonna finish cooking that one. From Honey Baked Ham. So yeah, shout out to Honey Baked Ham. Shout out to my job. I appreciate it.
You give me a Honey Baked Ham one. I ain't cooking nothing. That's all I'm eating.
Well, no, I'm frying a turkey for my cousin, man. You know, because usually I fry a turkey. Yeah. Anyway, so frying a turkey for her. We're gonna eat that the turkey from my job and you know fix all the little fixings that you have for Thanksgiving. This is my favorite time of the year, man.
Yeah. Time to eat, bro.
Man.
You know what's crazy? I am not the biggest fan of Thanksgiving.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Man. Why? Like, honestly, I can only eat the Thanksgiving. Like, I used to be able to eat Thanksgiving food for, you know, a couple days. But now I can't. I can only eat it for that day, and that's it. Other than that, it makes my stomach hurt. I don't really want it. Like, I'd be like, I'm good. Just give me some of that, and I'm fine. They'd be like, oh, you don't want more? No. You want a plate? No.
Man.
What you gonna eat tomorrow? The stuff I bought from the grocery store?
That's fine. I'm
good. Just give them over, man. It's Black Friday time.
Weekend, man.
I can't do it.
Eat that jet. From Thursday on, bro. I ain't got no problems with it.
Thursday till it's gone.
Till it's gone. I'm gonna be eating it up, and then I'm gonna have some sweet potato pie, which is my favorite. So I'm gonna eat that by myself, and that's gonna be that, man. I'll be happy.
Yeah, man. Be sitting back, eating and rubbing my feet together, man. A happy camper, man.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch Charlie. You know, I gotta watch Charlie Brown on Thanksgiving. Yeah. But other than that, man, I'll just be thankful. But I mean, this year gonna be different because we ain't gonna really be around folks. But you know,
no, I got my mom is coming through, so that's gonna be nice. Like we had plans to travel and stuff, but those plans got canceled because you know COVID is a monster. Right. So my mom, she not too far from here, so she was like, "We'll drive down and we'll kick it with y'all. We can cook a little bit of food together." So we'll have a little small gathering, the four of us.
That's gonna be all right though.
When you just said that part, it was like because of COVID. I don't know why, but I wanted to come in and be like, COVID. It's a hell of a drug. Like, what's the name?
I'm telling you right. That joint applies perfectly.
Man.
Really
changed everything.
I was talking to this guy yesterday. I met this guy yesterday because one of Allison's friends is in town. And she dates this guy who lives here. And so I met dude yesterday. His name's Kyle. And he works for like the health department. He was saying, this COVID thing, it's going to be around for a minute. I mean, he like on the front lines doing testing and all that kind of stuff. And he said the numbers and stuff that he's been hearing, they've been saying it's probably not going to be back to normal till like 2022. Wow. And I was like, damn,
that makes
2022.
Sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense because they're saying that, you know, the vaccines, even though the vaccines are looking good, that, you know what I'm saying, mass distribution won't be until like the spring. Yeah. So then, you know, you got like, they're going to get the folks who are like most vulnerable first. And then you won't get anything else till like the spring. And then, you know, you got to get everybody to go take the dang old thing.
Yeah.
And plus, I think they're having an issue with transporting it because it's got to be like so many degrees cold or something.
I heard that. That was one of them. I think like one of them said they didn't have that issue, but one of them was like it had to be like -70 or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah.
Consistently. It's like,
So-
damn. Y'all can make it warmer a little bit.
It's cold.
Man,
Like, geez,
That's crazy.
Louise, man.
your life is totally different right now, man.
Completely different, man. And the crazy thing about it, man, we've adjusted our lives to live with this thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You know, that's the craziest thing, man. We're gonna be walking around with them helmets, man.
I ain't getting that helmet. I ain't gonna be so foggy.
Man. Have a little
We're gonna have
release.
spacesuits on, man.
Right.
Walking around Earth.
Walking around Earth in a spacesuit. That's crazy.
That's crazy
You
to
walking
think
around
of it, ain't
home with a spacesuit on.
The spacesuit on.
Well,
man.
at least here in the U.S., unlike
Yeah,
other
right,
places
right.
that like
Yeah.
on their 200th day and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild as hell.
Yeah.
That's why I go ahead and prepare so when we figure out this space travel and shit,
Yeah.
so we know when we get to the next planet, we'll be like, all right, we already prepared. COVID got us prepared.
Yep.
I already got my helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, space. I got one of them in the closet. Come on, bro.
I got two of them, man. What size you wear?
Hey, what? I got you, bro. You straight. Come on.
Right, you straight, bro.
Right.
Oh, man. And somebody gonna say a bootleg joints.
Hell no. It's not gonna have a hole in it.
Right?
Yeah, that one ain't gonna work at all. At all.
The little shield on the face is gonna be made of different material.
Right.
Man,
At all.
that stuff.
Oh, man, that's gonna be crazy.
Man.
Oh,
Yeah, that's pretty much it though, man.
yeah.
Man. So I guess it's news time, and I'm actually gonna take over. And since we're speaking about Future on this St. John, man, the Billboard numbers are in, and I'm actually surprised that Future and Lil Uzi Vert, their collab album Pluto times Baby Pluto, actually came in at number 2 on the Billboard charts. I'm really surprised because I wasn't. Yeah, a lot of people wasn't. From what I heard, wasn't really on it like that or didn't feel it like that. But I'm pretty surprised. They came in second to AC/DC's new album, Power Up. So they were very close to being the number 1 album. But I mean, hey, shoot.
Yeah.
Hey, give them they due. I was really, really surprised at that one. So that's something that I definitely want to share.
Yeah.
They did some pretty good numbers too, man. They did some pretty good numbers.
I'm not surprised. I think that's off the strength of Lil Uzi Vert. I think he has a huge fan base that is like in the 20 to 25 range at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That like a nigga like me is not a part of. So I'm not tapped into what that looks like. But that might be having like supporters, bro.
Oh yeah,
they come
yeah,
out. They come out when he puts something out, bro. They pop up and they support what he do.
They definitely do, and I mean you can't ask for nothing better than that. As far as saying supporters go, saying some other news we get into, man. Pookie Loke's son. It's an article out here says that he's receiving death threats following the Jeezy and Gucci Mane versus battle, which sucks. He lost his father, so why you sending death threats? So man, we definitely frown upon that. That ain't something that's cool, especially for you Twitter and internet gangsters out there, man. Like y'all chill. You know what I'm saying? Definitely chill. The man lost his father and. He has to relive that trauma, and saying I'm sure that's something that's tough. So sending death threats, man. I don't know when that got cool or who that was cool, but nah, son, definitely ain't cool. Definitely ain't cool at all. And then I guess to round out the news. Oh, what you going?
I was gonna say why send him a death threat like he had something to do with it?
I don't know. I know he did make a comment where he was, on Twitter saying that, basically he was kind of like, you know what, He wasn't really feeling the Versus battle at that point. Which, I mean, rightfully so.
It makes sense.
Right, that's his dad.
That's his
Like,
pops,
I don't want nothing to do with that.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely
Like
not.
it was, what, 2005, 15 years ago, man.
Mm-hmm.
If he our age, we were just 18. You know what I'm saying? If he younger than us, he's a child. So it's like, bro, he ain't had nothing to do with that, man. Leave this man alone. He just does. He's gonna say he didn't like that because that's his dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave this man alone, man.
Yeah, and you know, these fans out here gotta chill. You know,
Right.
Gucci and Jeezy don't know you in real life, bro. like, calm down. But yeah, so you know, man, some more news real quick, man. Shout outs to Nicki Minaj. Can you believe it? Like November 22nd marked 10 years since Nicki dropped her highly anticipated debut album, Pink Friday. And I also saw that they on Apple Music, they re-released it again on Apple Music. And I think it's the completed version of the album. So it has some extra tracks on it. So, man, shout outs to Nick. Man, that says a lot, man. 10 years in the game, 10 years from today. I mean, well, yeah, 10 years in the game, man. That's crazy. So shout out to Nick, man. I like Nick. I miss Nick.
She got that baby too, her, man.
I think she already had the baby.
She already did?
Yeah, she had the baby.
Oh man, I gotta shoot. Congratulations, then.
Right. Congratulations.
Shoot. Yeah. Man, I just 1 minute I saw a photo, now she had a baby. Shout out to Nick. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Come on back. Yeah. Come on back.
Yeah.
So, you know, with that rounding out the news, I guess we get to it, man.
Let's get into it.
Guess we get to it, man. The main event.
Right.
Ding, you know what I'm saying, man? Right. I was ding for real that night. Man, let's get to it, man. Jeezy versus Gucci, or Gucci versus Jeezy, however you want to say it. The versus battle provided by Swiss Beats and Timbaland, Revolt, Apple Music, Ciroc, yeah, I think they're the sponsors. Yeah. All done at Magic City. Broke records, 2 million. They said it was total 2 million views, which is incredible. Which as it should.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
An epic night for both men, and an epic night for hip hop. Hip hop as a whole.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say, Steve, man, just lay it out. Like, why was this so big? For people that don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, but for people that may not know, why was this so big?
Yeah, let's get straight to it, man. For the people that don't know, the history behind it, it's a long-standing beef of 15 years. I know Jeezy kept saying 20, but 15 years. And, you know, when you've had an issue with somebody for 15 years, in the music game, man, that's a long time. Most people's careers don't even get to 15 years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it all stems from the popular song So Icy. Both men wanted it for their albums, their debut albums, but Gucci ended up actually releasing it on his debut album. And from there, it also was reported that Jeezy said that he wasn't paid for it, his appearance on it. And then after that, it snowballed into a lot of diss records, from Stay Strapped to all the way to The Truth to, you know, what it is today. Even a gentleman was murdered, but actually murdered behind the whole thing. Well, not murdered, but shot. He actually died. Let's just say that. Passed behind the situation when a bounty was put on Gucci Mane's chain. So, you know, there's been plenty of fights, and a lot of people have been pulled into it, from DJ Drama to Shawty Red, which is a producer for Jeezy, actually for both men. And then also both camps, which include, you know, like Waka Flocka, Slick Puller, and so on and so forth. So, man, this has been a real war for 15 years. Yeah. And even though at a certain time, I think it was around probably like 2006. Well, no. I think
2009, it was 2009, I believe.
Yeah, it was around 2009 or so. So they actually, squashed the beef for a second, and was going to collab together, and then something else happened, and it was back on again. So, you know, that's pretty much what it stems from, man. That's the shortened version of it. But yeah. Man, a lot of fighting going on with this one.
Man, that's crazy, man. How that has basically shaped our lives as far as like those two artists, because I think, I don't know who I was talking to, it may have been you guys, but we realized that it was so much money left on the table because of this beef. We have missed out on a lot because these guys came in around the same time, you know, if not the same time. Like they both hit their stride at the same time or whatnot. It was good to see them. So at this Versus, like, of course, we all know Jeezy was supposed to go. Originally, Gucci had said, nah, he didn't want to do it. And Jeezy was going to go against T.I., which Steve did not like at all, period.
No. I mean, I was fine with it. I was hyped about it because, you know, you was going to get some records and you probably was going to get some good stories. But with you knowing that they were like homeboys, I don't think we would have got like that full effect as of, you know, you getting, you know, then we get some other people and getting some different stories. Because most of the stuff that they've been through, we already kind of know, you know? And in this Versus, we still didn't get no stories besides Jeezy. Jeezy gave us something. Gucci's just dropping records. But, you know, between brothers, you know, it's kind of like, that's exciting. But
that's like you get somebody that's getting up there and doing the verses against each other.
You already know. You know, like we all, it's like, oh well, you know. But if you know, speak of gigas and say, you know, shoot, Joe Button podcast, we get up there and do a
That's it. But so we got Jeezy versus Gucci, man. What was y'all thoughts on the actual Versus?
Man, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I will say that I really did enjoy the Versus. I thought it was cool. It was well set up. By now, they've gotten a lot of the kinks worked out as far as like the presentation and everything. So I was able to watch it on my TV, like through Apple TV and shit. Which is cool because like literally the week before that became a thing I could do through my Roku on my TV. And so it was like saying that. Perfect timing, bro. I was like, yes, I can watch this on my TV. And I ended up like having to coach somebody on Twitter through how to set it up and shit. It was like 2 people responded because I was like, shout out to Roku for letting me watch this on my TV. And then like 2 people immediately was like, hey, how you do this? But, so I had to coach them through it like live. Then like just them getting there finally, you know, late as hell because that's what niggas do. And starting it up and Gucci out the gate, just like instantly coming with the fire. And I was like, this man right here. Like he came ready for a real battle and shit. Like it was a trip. It was really cool to watch because I watched it in conjunction with like being on the phone with Derek. And like I had called him and let him know like how to set it up on his TV and shit. So I was technical support, goddamn.
Right.
But you a chick,
right? Man, what they need to
Versus one or two
Versus somebody over my boy a chick, man.
I'm telling you. But he set it up. He got his stuff together, and then like I went and grabbed a beer out the refrigerator and I was cooking and shit. And then it finally came on, and like I said, Gucci came out the gate ready. Jeezy started playing his records. And I just enjoyed it. And then up until like the point of like where the tension got real high. It was like a point in there where it was just like things kind of got quiet and you could hear a pin drop in that motherfucker. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa.
Right.
Like, what's about to go down in this joint? And like they ended up, it kind of smoothed itself out.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more civil than what I expected it to go. So shout out to both of them niggas for not killing each other on live.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. It was fun to watch.
That's what's up,
Word.
man.
For me, man, I just like G, man, I enjoyed it. The crazy thing was, well, just like G, I wasn't on the phone, but I was doing a lot of texting in my group chat, and then my cousin texted me, and then I was on Facebook talking like it was, and then I think were we talking in the Slack too? I can't remember.
I think so.
I was everywhere. But you know, for me, it was kind of like I was there for when the beef started till seeing the beef ended. So for me, it was like some like real legendary stuff, and it'll probably be something that we'll never witness again.
Right.
And like, you know, hearing those tracks, you know, and we actually we was actually scoring it, you know. But you know, just to lead up, the fact that I really didn't think it was gonna happen until I saw it.
Yeah.
You know, I had my drinks flowing, and like I had the surround sound on, and I got Apple TV, so it was easy just to hop on the iTunes and go. Yeah. So just kind of seeing them two in the room together, and the fact that it actually happened, man, was like, it's just big, period.
Yeah.
Definitely sends a good message. But I mean, if I can describe it, man, it's kind of like a roller coaster. You know, it had its good moments, and it got up there, and I was like, oh, hell. Yeah. Here we go. And then, you know, we got towards that end, and I was like, okay. We got through it. Ball of nerves, and I wasn't even there.
Right.
Imagine being in the room, bro. Being in Magic City at that moment. You're like, whoa, got to go there, goddamn it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, man. That's something we'll probably never get that feeling again. So I'm glad I was here in attendance to see it.
Right.
If COVID wasn't around, I would have made that trip. I would have got into Magic City somehow, some way. I would have been there. But yeah, look too many bodies for me.
Yeah.
I saw the line outside. I was like, no. Somebody I think it was Hot. One of the radio stations down in Atlanta posted a picture of it, you know, the outside of it with the line. I was like, goodness gracious. But yeah, man, shout out to them for doing it and getting through it without any issues.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway from it, or the biggest thing that I realized, 2 million people watch these two guys, legends in our culture, go on stage and essentially squash a beef. I don't know if they, you know, I don't think they're going to be best of friends.
No, absolutely not.
But I think they're able to move forward with their lives and being able to put a situation that was terrible. The situation was terrible, being able to put that behind them, and 2 million people got a chance to see that. I think that's more amazing than anything on like that happened throughout this whole Verzus, because this Verzus definitely took you through a moment. One moment to stand out to me was when Gucci said, "We smoking on Pookie Loc tonight," and also he said, and I'm just paraphrasing this part because I ain't write it down. We put one of your other partner. We put your partner in the dirt. You bring some more over. We're gonna put them in the dirt, or we're gonna send them back to you in a box or something like that. Those two statements right there. What was y'all thoughts on it? Because my thought was, oh shit, it's about to go down.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, that's that part I'm talking about, is when, because Gucci was just finishing I think he had just finished The Truth. And then he turned around and he was kind of like walking towards his folks, and he said that. And he was like, you send some more, we're going to send them back to you in the box the same way.
Right.
And I was just like, what do you do, Jeezy? I was of two minds. Like, one, like, do you go like fire on this nigga like right now?
Right.
Or do you be like a bigger person about like, how do you handle this situation? Because there's some real animosity behind that statement.
Right.
And so knowing that you in front of 2 billion people, knowing that you got all these other people in this club with you, like, how do you respond to that? Because this man has made it clear. Like, I'm with the shits right now.
Right now.
If that's what you want to do, I'm with the shits right now. Don't give a damn who watching.
Right.
And that was that part I'm talking about where you got to that climax and it was just like tense. And you was like, what's going to happen? And then Jeezy started talking.
Right.
He went through his whole speech before he went into Get Your Mind Right. Yeah. Which I felt like was a perfect fucking drop. Like they dropped it so perfectly with what he said. Like the DJ needs a raise for that. Right. That motherfucking drop hit so hard. Because he was like, I forgot what he said, but he was like, one thing clear, two things for fucking show. Or something like that. 3 things
for certain is
I'm the realest.
I'm still and it just
the realest nigga in it.
Which is my favorite Jeezy song, by the way.
That is the hardest. That's the hardest.
You feel that in such a different way.
It is perfect.
Damn.
Yeah. What you done, G?
Yeah, I'm through, bro. Like that was the height of the night right there. I had to go get the pistol at the room and watch the rest with the pistol ready. Because I was just like, this the energy that's in this motherfucker right now.
Right.
Yeah, like, man.
This is wife beater and pistol play right here.
Right.
That's what
this is. Yeah. Man, when we got to that moment. Now, before I get to that moment, I thought the high moment. At first, I thought the high moment was the moment where Gucci's like, man, I got on like, sunset. I got on like, let's do a battle. Can we do a clothes battle or a jury battle? I got on this, and then Jesus was like, I own half of Atlanta. Let's do a real estate battle. I was like, yeah, talk your stuff, G. Talk your stuff, but then when we got to the, to that part. Where, he say, hey, after Truth dropped. For one, when Truth dropped, I don't think anybody expected him to even play the record. Yeah. But when it did, it was like, oh no, he's playing Truth. And then when he gets to that whole part, and he's like, hey, we smoking Puka Loaf tonight. I cringed. At the house. I cringed because I was like, hold up. You felt the record a little too much. You went too far. And because the thing is, it's been 15 years. I'm sure Jeezy psychologically has to still deal with that trauma, that all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I wouldn't have said that, he'd probably still be here. And then, of course, we mentioned in the news that, Puka Loaf's son was very unhappy with it, and all the people that affected. And it's cool to be, hard, but at some point, like CNN, MSN, all the major news networks was picking this up, and you're like, okay, this is when keeping it real goes wrong. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. On the other side, Charlamagne said something very important, like, have we ever thought about how Gucci felt? And I was like, And it was like, you know what?
That was the big thing. That was the big thing for me.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? No, I actually haven't. But in the same sense, it's a two-way street because a lot of people was like, how Jeezy can be in the room with a guy who, killed his homeboy. But then it's like, how Gucci can be in the room with a guy who, essentially got, had somebody gunning for me. So for me at that point, it was a cringe-worthy moment. Yeah. Because I was like, okay, what's about to happen? Because in my mind, I was expecting this microphone to get thrown across the stage. Because if you saw the setup, they were actually pretty far away from each other. Yeah. A nice distance with two thrones. And I was like, uh-oh. He finna throw this mic at his ass. Cause I saw Jeezy walk to the edge of that stage. It was like, yo, look here. And when I heard that, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit.
Now, I'm going to be honest. In that moment, I was proud of Jeezy because Jeezy, like, everybody, like, Jeezy never really talks about that. He just said that, he had nothing to do with it, but he never really talks about it. Yeah. And he stood at that edge, and I was like, okay, now we see Jeezy. Jeezy's been a hothead, and if you look back through the battle, you wouldn't assume it now, but if you look back through the whole beef, Jeezy was really with the mess, too. Mm-hmm. And then you see him walk to the edge of that stage, and I'm like, okay, what's about to happen? And when he's like, look here, and he goes into the spiel, hey, I stand this olive bread, you supposed to come here and do it. Like, he was like, and Gucci was like, I told you I can't do it unless I can do the truth. And he was like, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, and then he goes into it and then he drops that record. Like at that point, like I saw Gucci's demeanor change. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like I think at that moment, I think he realized like he did everything. Like it was so many diss records that dropped, and he did so much to antagonize Jeezy that when you got to that point, it was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I think he had that because you see him kind of like his body language kind of changed.
Yeah, it did.
But also, you know, I was talking to my homies in the group chat. I could see Jeezy's body language change. Mm-hmm. And you can tell, like, you ever see that person who's that pissed off to the point where they shaking? Mm-hmm. Like, you can see, like, Jeezy hops up on, like, the whole time, Jeezy just kind of sit down and being mellow, but you see Jeezy jump, you know what I'm saying, after that record drop, you see him jump in the chair. Like, you see him just kind of, like, getting all of whatever he had out. And you could just see the energy and the flow of whatever it was that, you know what I'm saying, all that anger, he sent it in a different direction. And like being a bigger man is something that's so important and a lot of people don't understand. Like you can crush somebody by being a bigger man. Cause at that point it's like everything I did didn't work. Yeah. And now you got to think psychologically like, oh shoot, like what have I been doing this last? You know what I'm saying? Like, what have I really been doing? Because for me, in this whole battle, those diss records got old real quick. They didn't age well. You know, like I was like, another one? Like, you drop another one? Like, oh my goodness, come on, you got more. Right. And something I want to bring up because G is actually even though he's a school psychologist, you know, psychology is his thing. And something I want to bring up to him. Like at that moment, like, is that like a psychologist's like worst nightmare, or is that like one of their like biggest accomplishments? This is why we do therapy, to get someone from, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be, you know, because that could have went terribly wrong. Yeah. On both sides, but getting somebody from, you know what I'm saying, the mindset of, because it's two different mindsets there. There's Gucci's mindset, as we could see, all the way to Jeezy's mindset. Like give, if you don't mind, can you get the listeners a little bit of like how important it is to have your mental space correct, you know what I'm saying, in those situations?
Man, the way that I saw it, like watching it unfold, I had to think of it two different ways. First of all, like, yes, you do have that dyad of like two men in two totally different spaces mentally. Like you got Gucci coming in there like, nigga, I'm here for whatever. And then you got Jeezy who's coming in here like with a different mindset of like, I'm here, you know, it's a celebration of the culture. I understand what Gucci is going to be bringing, but I still kind of have an agenda here that I'm trying to get across because I'm kind of not on that same energy that he's on no more. And so he kind of having to balance that as he's going in there. Like, even though I may be at a place where I'm over this shit, he may not necessarily be there. And so like, I got to allow him that space to get that shit out. Which is why I thought it was so important that Gucci had mentioned, like, I told you I wasn't going to do this unless I was able to play the truth. And then Jeezy saying, yeah, I understand that. Like, that said something to me. That said that Jeezy already knew this was coming. Yeah. And he prepared for it to come, because if he wasn't already past that mentally, if he hadn't already worked through the therapy sessions to get past that, that wouldn't have been allowed. He would have never said, yes, you can come through and play the truth. It would have been like, yeah, you can come through, but you can't play that record, because he would have known that still was going to be something that was going to set him off. And then even with what you said, Steve, where like you feel like he got up and you can kind of see the anger in his body, like before he dropped, get your mind right and shit. That was him processing that anger. It still touched him the same way, but he just knew how to deal with it a different way at that point. And I think when you look back on the other side of like the body language changing on Gucci's side, I haven't heard many people talk about it because niggas is niggas and they like drama. But like, I think his body language changed for a reason. I think Gucci, he came in hot-headed, but I think he's a lot further along than we giving him credit for. Yeah. I think that Gucci felt like it might have still been some animosity there. And that's why he came prepared like that, because he when he changed his demeanor later, to me what that said was like, the only reason he wanted to bring the truth in is kind of like a temperature check. Like, are we still in that same war space? if we not still in that same war space, if I do this, it's not gonna hit you the same way. But if we still in that war space, if I do this, it's over with. Like, this is the end type of shit. Like you said, that's his trump card. That's the fucking atom bomb. If I play this motherfucker and nothing happens, it changes the whole thing. It's like, nigga, I rap this shit to you. Yeah. I was across the stage rapping this shit to you face to face, talking all my shit, and you ain't do nothing about it. Like, that changes your whole mind. And that's why at the end he was like, man, I appreciate you extending the olive branch. Like, all that shit, like, we cool on all that shit. Like, we good type of thing. And I know a lot of people like, I don't know if this is gonna last, but even for that moment, it's powerful because you can see that these men have grown in their respective spaces. And since they ain't been talking for 15 years or whatever, or 10 years since 2009, since they ain't been talking, they don't know where each other are mentally. Like, they know where they are, but they also like, but what if this nigga still on that shit? Yeah. And you just saw two different approaches to both men kind of having that same mindset of like, what if he still on it? Because if he still on it, we still got a problem. Right. And I think Jeezy was like, he came in like, I'm not still on it. His whole mission was like to let the world know I still ain't on that shit. And then Gucci's was like, if you still on it, nigga, you still
we
there.
Can go there.
We can still go there. And I think that has to do with where each man was in the situation. Like, you got Gucci being the person who was receiving somebody coming towards him, like coming after his life. So like he gonna feel differently than like the person who allegedly sent somebody out to get somebody. Like, you feel differently if you was the person being attacked. You like, hold up, bro. Like, you came at me, bro. Like, I can't show you no weakness at all. Because you felt like I was weak in the first place because you already sent somebody my way. And so I'm showing you, bro, not only am I ready for that shit, but I'm going to reiterate that, like, nigga, when you tried, this is what happened last time. And, like, I'm still there. Like, I still do that shit now. And I think at this point, they just have a different respect for one another. I think Jeezy has a different respect for who Gucci Mane is. And I'm not sure what that's from. I'm not sure if it's because of just, like, knowing that he's grown as a person, or just some of it being a part of the fact that when somebody came his way, he had to stand his ground. Like, I think it's twofold there. And so, like, just from a psychology perspective, man, like, that's something that you want to see. You want to see people grow. But at the same time, you understand that, like, triggers are triggers, nigga. Like, and I think that's what we saw happen in real time, is that, like, the truth is, like, the trigger thing that, like, Gucci was like, this is going to be the thing that's going to let me know if this shit really over with.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I do this and you ain't triggered, then maybe we can think about this squashing beef shit. Yeah. But if I do this and you react, then ain't nothing changed.
Absolutely.
We still got that action.
I'm glad you broke that down, because I think I even told, not told, but we was on Facebook and I was talking to Tommy and I was like, yo, at that moment I lost respect for Gucci. Like, real quick. Cause I think the Pukalo comments was too far. But then when we got to the end, I was like, you know what? The fact of, because Gucci made an effort at the end to put that out. Cause I think everything he said is spot on. And I think also he was kind of like, dang, like, okay, hold up. What did I do? You know? And he had that time to, you know what I'm saying, digest that till the end. Whereas Jeezy was probably more quicker thinker and digested it and diffused it and put it all back together within a matter of minutes after it happened. So then, you know, you get to the end and you hear Gucci say, you know, after they perform So Icy, and you hear him say, yo,
which was my favorite part.
Yo, I really do appreciate you extending this olive branch. All disrespect aside, it's all love. Yeah. And at that moment, I was like, okay. Because, like, I've seen the interviews when he came home from jail, and you could tell that he was a totally different person. And so I do think they had a conversation behind the scenes, which is evident because he said he wouldn't do it unless he could drop Truth. But I think in that moment, you know, what Jeezy is already, his growth already, I think we saw, Gucci once again grow some more, you know? So, yeah, man. Yeah.
Man, my thoughts from what both of you guys were saying was Gucci had some stuff on it. Gucci went through a traumatic experience. Mm-hmm. Like, regardless of how hard or how soft people try to portray the situation, like try to say Jeezy, because I've heard Jeezy was wrong. I've heard Gucci was wrong. Gucci had something on his chest. He went through a traumatic experience and never was able to say out in public what he wanted to say in front of the man that did it, that he felt wronged him. Yeah. So the way I looked at it was when he did the truth, at first I was like, dog, like, hold up, man, hold up. Don't do it. Because I'm waiting on Jeezy's response. Jeezy had prepared for that. Yeah, Jeezy knew it was coming. Jeezy had mentally said, okay, like it's there. I know what I did. I accept that. He just basically sat down and was like, I got to take this whooping. Basically. I got to take this whooping. And, I'm going to take it like a man because I did the work. So, it is what it is on that. I do have a message, though. I ain't just going to let a man sit up here and just chastise me without me getting my word out. So that's what Jeezy's response was. But Gucci had to get that off his chest. Mm-hmm. It was a matter of, I can't go further if I don't say this to you. And however you respond to it, it's on you because I'm prepared either way. Yeah. But I have to get this off because he played all of his diss tracks. Yeah. Like, because after that, 745 came on. Another diss track.
You saw a real live therapy session.
Right.
Like that was real live. Like, this is therapy in front of everyone.
Right.
It was like the homework from therapy sessions, really.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It was like this was the first opportunity for them to put what they learned in therapy into play for real.
Into play, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you definitely had to appreciate Jeezy's openness to allowing and not responding in a way that would be detrimental to the whole Versus. His response and allowing Gucci to go that far, push the buttons. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, he damn near just smashed the buttons. Like, I'm gonna push all these motherfuckers.
It's like when folks go into you ever seen when people go into those homes and they're like, all right, get all your anger out. Go in there. You
just like that. Just like that.
It's like seeing that with words, and it was like, just get it out. Yeah. Just get it out.
Just
whatever you need to say to me, man.
You need to feel.
Get it out.
Yeah.
And then, I'm gonna say my piece. And shoot, you saw that at the end. It was like, hey, we're gonna leave it right here.
Right.
What you want to do? Because at the end, Jesus was like, hey, I didn't know how it was gonna go at the end. Because Jesus was like, hey, whatever you want to do, we can leave it right here and do this for the last time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, what's happening? Is it finna break down? I was like, what's going on? And then so Icy drop, and you see both of their demeanors.
Yeah.
You even see like a side of Gucci, like Gucci appears to be happy at that moment.
It was like relief.
Yeah, it was relief.
Yeah. It was relief. Like, once So Icy came on, it was relief, and I can enjoy myself now because I didn't know what was going to happen. Even the DJs in the back changed their demeanor after, once So Icy came on and everybody was cool. But the message that I think a lot of people may have missed, because I ain't really heard anybody talking about it, was when Jeezy brought up the fact that us doing this, him and Gucci coming together and essentially squashing their beef, how that affects the culture, because we seen King Von got killed last week, Mo 3 got killed, I think it was 2 weeks ago, both of those guys got killed. All the killings that has happened within that time for rappers, and these rappers are like Pop Smoke was brought up. These rappers are right there at the edge, and it's like Jeezy is thinking forward, like, hey, I have this beef with this man, and I'm ready to let it go, and I have to allow the world to see us let it go, just to see if it'll help the future of our culture. I think that's huge.
I think I want to interject and kind of bring something else that happened this week into this conversation right quick, because we saw that in two places this week. If you was paying attention, you got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion as well.
Right.
You got Will Smith and Janet Hubert, the original OG, and Ville coming together and having their like conversation like together on camera right in front of the world to see. It was the same kind of energy, because it was like she came in and she like on some Gucci Mane shit. Like she came in and did not let this nigga not know how bad she felt based on what he did. And he just had to sit there and take it. Like he couldn't defend himself and be like, I ain't do that. It was like, no.
Take this.
I own that shit. That's what I did. I'm so sorry about that. I hate that I did that. I've grown to a different place now, and I'd like to start anew at this point that we at right now. Yeah. But I am sorry for what I've done at this point. And I think that's kind of what we saw in the Verzus as well. Like, so it was like, this was a fucking magical week for like Black people and growth.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it was just like, damn, reconciliation is a possibility, goddammit. Yeah. Niggas don't have to like take animosity to the grave. Niggas don't have to kill the other person. Like, you can actually meet each other head on, have a discussion, work through your issues, and then prosper from that point. And I think that was just like a huge takeaway from this week for me.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that you brought that up, because that was my inspiration behind asking you those questions, you know what I'm saying, about it, you know what I'm saying, from a psychiatrist standpoint. Because I watched the Red Table Talk for Will, and then they showed they talked about that, as well as showing him and the dark skinned Aunt Viv, for some of those out there, to see them make up, and you know, him taking those punches. And she used an analogy of, you know, when Ali does the rope-a-dope and he takes the punches, and you know what I'm saying, he sat there and took those punches, and then he also broke down something that I'm like, I learned something from it. He broke down something that I'm going to use going forward, which was, you know, how to become a better listener. And what he said was, instead of spelling out love, L-O-V-E, he spells it L-U-V. And for listen, so that you would listen, understand, then you know what I'm saying, verify where you went wrong. And I was like, dang, man, that's so important. And then he also talked about how, you know, with his kids, what they do is they listen to them and they let them finish their story. And then they repeat the story back. And, you know what I'm saying, then going, you know what I'm saying, kind of going to it and everything and all of that, it sparked, it was like a ding. I was like, dang, that's exactly what Jeezy did.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what he did. Like he let Gucci get it out. He listened. He understood. He, you know what I'm saying, from my standpoint, he understood. And then, you know what I'm saying, verified and kind of went into all that stuff. So, you know, yeah, it's been a like coming off of probably the worst 2 weeks to like one weekend, seeing like something huge for the culture is amazing. So,
yeah.
Yeah, man, I was very proud.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like I was just excited, man, this whole weekend. You know, about all those things, man. Like for me, it really affects. Like I don't usually have beef with people, and people that I do, I've been able to sit down and talk to them and say what's on my chest. You know, when I get frustrated, I might just like I have to release. You know what I'm saying, to move forward. And I feel like both of those situations, that's basically what it was. You know, time was lost, like I said earlier in the podcast, and a lot of money was lost or never made. What do you guys think between these two guys going forward? Do you guys think there's anything else in store for us from those two guys together?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
But I don't know the specifics, so I can't really speak on it. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I can see them like doing something together eventually.
Would you want
even
them to?
If they did, I would want them to do it. I would want it to be something with a mediator between the two. Not necessarily them going at each other with a mediator, but just like them on a track together with somebody else.
With somebody else, yeah.
Like, even if it was like a T.I. feature as well in there, or a Jay-Z feature just sprinkled in there, or a Ross feature sprinkled in there, of just all three artists on one accord kind of speaking on the same thing, and just go from there, because I think they got a lot of unbeknownst to them, apparently they have a lot of chemistry, goddammit.
For me, I don't think musically, I don't think we get anything. I think they're gonna probably be more in a cordial space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see you, you see me, you know, and that's kind of like it. I don't know if we get, like you said earlier, I don't think it's best friends. Cause it's still like, it's some bloodshed behind that. And, you know, saying all type of, you know, saying stuff behind that I don't think we get to that. But I do think we get a more cordial Jeezy and Gucci, as opposed to, you know, saying that more of that hostile environment. Because now they've been in a room together. Like, we didn't do nothing. What's the point? You know, us doing something tomorrow to each other.
Right.
You know, they even had the after party, which they were pretty much almost in the same section, even though it's like, you know, probably 50 people between the two.
Yeah.
Within the same building. And even that, they've been in the same room together. They just didn't, you know, Gucci was like, there was no point of speaking. Like, we know we don't like each other. So I think, I don't know if we get anything from them as far as, you know, a feature or some type of production, but I do think we'll visibly see them in the same room together. Yeah. And know that, you know what I'm saying, stuff is cool. So, yeah.
Man, well, I look forward to it. You know, I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what this Versus did for both of those men. I know Jeezy was saying in some of the interviews he would like to, but they still got to talk about some stuff behind the scenes, not out in front of everybody. So I just go with my anticipation of hearing new music from these guys together, you know, and my anticipation of how this affects the world and specifically Black males, you know, that are a part of the culture. I see that they are going to start focusing a little bit more on it's not going to completely change everybody, but it's going to out of those 2 million people plus, because we know it was more than 2 million people to see this. Out of everybody that saw this and understood where they were coming from, I believe it's going to affect at least one person. And my rule of life is, if you doing something right and you affect at least one person, you've done your job for the next generation. Now, your goal is to affect more than one person in a positive manner. But if you do it, if you're only able to reach one person, you've done your job. So for me, shout out to both of those guys. I want to say thank you to both of those guys for giving us what we've been missing for so many years. Yeah. We really appreciate that. And, you know, we look forward to both of these guys becoming even greater than what they are now. So that's all I got, fellas.
Hey, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think we touched on everything with the Versus. The Versus was fire. This probably was one of my favorite, if not my favorite Versus. I'm looking forward to what's next with Versus. I'm looking forward to who T.I. is going to go against. Because even though T.I. was moved to the side on this one, I think he understands why. So I'm looking forward to what's next. So, and we can end it right there, man. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of a Speaker Geekers podcast. If you haven't already, please go subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for the notifications of when we drop some things. Also follow us on social media at Instagram at Speaker Geekers Podcast. Or same thing on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at I am Tommy T the Third. You got Steve at the Great Steve O Steve, and you got G at instantly_G. So follow us there. Comment on the video, comment in the Instagram. Just let us know what your thoughts were on the Versus, how you feel about Young Jeezy and Gucci essentially squashing their beef, and what's your thoughts on moving forward. So if you guys got anything else you want to add?
Like I said, man, I'm just proud of the culture, bro, for reconciliation being put on display live. Goddamn,
live.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know if the beef battle should be a thing, though. I don't know if you're gonna top this one, but hey, whatever, But hey. My boy Plies need a battle. We're gonna battle my boy Plies.
Somebody find Plies an opponent, please. Please. Pretty please, man. Goodness, man. Well, that's it, guys. I'm out, man. Peace.
Peace out.